Okay, let's just jump right in. Picture this. Something you watch on your phone, maybe like 3 minutes long an episode, is now pulling in more cash than the entire movie industry box office in your country.
Yeah, that's the reality in China for 2024. It's kind of staggering when you frame it like that.
Right. The sources we looked at show this micro-short drama market just exploded.
Yeah.
Past 50.4 billion yuan, more than the films made.
And what really jumped out at me from the reading wasn't just, the sheer size of it.
Was it?
It's that this isn't just entertainment anymore. It's actually reshaping e-commerce in the PRC market in a fundamental way. These super quick dramas are powerful sales tools now.
It really is this wild new retail frontier, isn't it?
Absolutely.
So today we're going to dive into these sources you shared, try to unpack it all, how they hook you, how watching turns into buying.
The tech behind it, yeah.
Exactly, the role of tech, and also some of the concerns that are starting to pop up because it grew so fast.
You should think of this deep dive as helping you get to grips with this space where, like some reports say, watching is buying. It's a totally different way of thinking about shopping.
Couldn't agree more. So let's start with the basics. The sources call it the 3-minute hook. What is that exactly?
Okay, so that's the core concept. These are really, really short drama episodes, like 3 minutes, built specifically for watching on your phone.
Made for mobile.
Yeah, designed to be super punchy, grab you instantly, and just deliver a quick hit of story and emotion.
And the sources gave some pretty vivid examples of the popular themes, didn't they? CEO revenge, rags to riches.
Oh yeah, the classic, she was humiliated, then rocks up 3 years later in a sports car. Or, the villainous takedown, stuff like that.
So lots of formulaic plots, but ones that really hit emotionally.
They definitely lean on those universal triggers, desire, revenge, overcoming obstacles, getting that win. The formula works because it's predictable and you get that emotional hit really fast.
And that speed must tie back to the scale we mentioned. That 50.4 billion yuan market, growing 35% last year. These hooks are clearly working.
Incredibly effective. And the key thing the material points out is how the story becomes the product placement.
Right. It's not like watching an ad during a break. The product is like woven right in.
Exactly. It completely changes how you even encounter something you might end up buying.
Which takes us to the next bit.
Yeah.
How do they actually connect that story to a sale? The sources talk about a whole new e-commerce playbook.
It feels worlds away from the old online journey, doesn't it? The reports mention the traditional way being search, compare, click. You know what you want, you go find it.
Very deliberate.
This new playbook, though, which platforms like Douyin have really mastered, it's all about video content, seeding, and live stream conversion.
Okay, break that down.
So you get drawn in by the drama, right? Invested in the characters, the plot. And then the path to buy something is just immediate, integrated, often through a live stream that pops up or a link right there.
And Douyin's numbers are just huge with this. The sources said over 3.5 trillion yuan in e-commerce transactions in 2024, making them the third biggest e-commerce player there.
It's incredible volume, yeah. And it's driven almost entirely by this content-first approach. That success naturally forces the old guard to adapt.
Like Alibaba. The sources mentioned their Guangguang Theater.
Right. That's a direct response. They're inviting brands not just to place ads, but to actually co-create the scripts.
So the products feel more organic.
Exactly. Part of the story from the start, linked directly to live sales.
And then there's Pinduoduo, targeting the budget shoppers, using low-cost, good value dramas.
Yeah, they focus on more relatable, everyday situations, showing daily necessities being used naturally in the plot to push those kinds of items.
So across the board, the goal seems to be making it feel less like an ad.
Definitely. Weave the product into the character's journey, make it part of the solution. Build that emotional link.
So the purchase feels less like I searched for this and more like
a natural next step, maybe even, a step towards that better life the character finds in the story.
Okay, so we've got the hooky content, the emotion, the smooth path to buying. But is it all just great writing and acting? This is where the sources bring in the tech, the algorithms.
Yeah, you have to ask, right? Is it brilliant drama or brilliant code? The sources suggest the algorithms are kind of the puppet masters here.
How so?
Well, the stories might grab you first, sure. But it's the tech behind the scenes constantly analyzing everything you do. Every click, how long you watch, what you like.
Building these super detailed profiles of what you like and what pushes your buttons emotionally.
Precisely. So it's not just showing you popular stuff. It knows exactly which type of CEO revenge plot will get you hooked. It pushes tailored content designed to keep you binging based on everything it knows about you.
The sources had that example: finish a drama about a couple fighting.
And boom, the algorithm might suggest a kitchen gadget to make life easier, or maybe anniversary gifts if it knows you're in a relationship.
Connecting the emotion from the show directly to a potential purchase.
Exactly. It's leveraging the emotional state revealed by your viewing habits.
It creates this kind of emotional hotbox, doesn't it?
Yeah.
Super fast plot, problem, twist, solution in 3 minutes. Hits those universal emotions.
Gives you that quick satisfaction, that payoff.
And right then, in that heightened emotional moment, the platform shows you related products.
The algorithm is like the invisible hand guiding what you see, linking content to products when you're most likely, based on your data, to feel an impulse.
That's incredibly targeted and maybe a bit unsettling. Which leads us to the next part. The sources flag some unseen costs or red flags.
Yeah, it's definitely not all smooth sailing. A big concern mentioned is just content sameness. So many repetitive plots.
The endless CEO romances or villain takedowns you mentioned.
Right, it leads to this aesthetic fatigue. Viewers might buy on impulse at first, but they could just get bored with the lack of originality pretty quickly.
And what about the brands? The sources mentioned a risk for them too, right? Diluted value.
Yeah, the worry is people remember the drama, the emotion, but the actual brand just fades into the background. Makes it tough to build real long-term loyalty if your product is tied to something so disposable.
Then there's the bigger picture stuff: regulatory concerns, societal impact.
Exactly. The reports highlight that the push for virality can lead some dramas to promote, well, problematic values. Extreme materialism, aggression, unrealistic lifestyles just to get clicks.
And the authorities have noticed. The sources confirm China's media regulator pulled tens of thousands of these dramas.
Yeah, they're definitely tightening scrutiny. Which brings up this deeper issue the sources touch on: the information cocoon.
Explain that a bit.
Well, if the content is so precisely tailored to your emotional weak spots, your consumer impulses, if it's designed specifically to nudge you to buy right then,
How much free will are you really exercising as a consumer?
that's the question, isn't it? It raises real concerns about genuine choice versus algorithmic suggestion.
It really feels like this whole thing, this huge e-commerce engine, is at a kind of turning point.
A critical juncture, yeah. Platforms need to innovate, obviously, but there's also a growing need for deeper ethical thinking from everyone involved.
Creators, platforms.
And maybe even us as viewers and consumers just understanding the forces shaping what we watch and buy.
So wrapping up this deep dive, it's clear these microdramas are way more than just quick entertainment.
Oh, absolutely. They're a really complex mix of story, emotion, and very sophisticated tech, all geared towards driving sales.
A calculated fusion, really.
So, based on everything we've dug into from the sources, maybe the question to leave you with is this.
Go on.
How does this blend rapid story, emotional manipulation, algorithmic targeting, how does it fundamentally change what we even think shopping is? And what could that mean, not just in China, but maybe globally in the years ahead?
That's a big question. Definitely a lot to chew on there. Thanks for joining us for this deep dive into the sources today.